going to try and get this intro done really quickly because I've been trying to film this video, but next door are having some work done, and they're very, very noisy builders. So it's delayed my video. So if they just burst into drilling and hammering and cutting again, I really apologise, and I'll have to try and edit it out, but it's been really loud. So we are here, and I'm very excited, but I'm not quite sure. I think by the looks of it, this is the floor. I'm not quite sure which pieces these are, but it looks like we're going to be starting here, which this might be the underneath, but it'll come to light where I start picking up the pieces. And then here looks to be lighting diagram. Looks like oh, there we go again. So I hope you can hear me. This is what they've been doing all day. I was hoping they would calm down so I could start filming, but this is what it's been like for days. So we're going to get on to, so I won't talk through this bit unless I feel like I really have to, otherwise you won't hear what I'm saying. So it looks like we're going on to a lighting diagram, and then we're going to start putting some walls, I think, and then we should, this video I'm going to make shorter because my editing software is, I use free editing software because I can't afford to pay monthly like a lot of them want you to do, and it doesn't like my longer videos. And the last video I did on this was hours and hours of footage that I had to squish down, and it didn't like that at all and took me hours and hours and hours because it kept buffering and going mad. So I'll have to make this video shorter and perhaps do it in 2 separate bits depending on how long it takes and how much footage I have. I'll gather these pieces together and we'll see what we need. Okay, it took me a second to figure out what I was doing. I'm not perfect and I don't profess to be an expert at these, so it took me a little while. So now I'm looking for something blue. It's not blue, it's grey. So I'm looking in the box and I'm thinking, it's blue, it's blue. Look, it's not blue. I mean, that looks blue to me. It's grey. So, I should be looking for the number, but I'm not. I'm looking for the blue. So this is A11, this nice chunky dude. So I'm thinking, well, it's got to go number up. So I found, obviously we have to cut this out the centre. We want this for something else. So we want one. It's tiny. Can my camera even pick it up? It's tiny. My camera doesn't like fast moving things. Probably needs a different setting, but I don't know how to do it. I've got it on auto. I'm useless at technology. In fact, the fact that I do videos is, you know, it's a miracle, don't you? Because it's a camera, it's technology. It's a miracle. I can make things, but I can't do technology. So we're going to cut this out, and I'm presuming it goes this way because we've got the numbers on the top. Cut this out, stick it to there. Bob's your uncle. Cut that out, stick it to there, and we get this. So we're going to look for this, cut it out, stick it to there, and we're going to get that. Same with that. And then I'm presuming once we've done that, we're going to do this. I'm not quite sure. I'm going to have to figure that one out after. Yes, this one we're going to bring down here, and then we'll move on to this one. So this makes this, which comes down to that. I'm not sure if that's on the back, but we'll work that out after. So that's what we're going to do, and then we're going to have all those pieces done. So I won't talk through this because I think they're just about to start again next door. Okay, all done. So this is the base that everything's stuck into, the walls and everything. So these two bits here where I've stuck the extra glue, they won't be seen, but these bits here obviously will be seen because this is this board down here. So we need to get these edges sharp, but these side walls will go and slot into it, which is why we've got these slotted pieces here. So we just need to make sure our corners are nice and crisp. So I've used my board to push down my edges to make sure they are beautiful and crisp, and that these are nice and pointy. I don't want any sloppy corners or any frayed pieces. I want these corners to be nice and perfect. Now I'll move on to the next piece. Okay, so that went okay. I will say that on the wood, you don't get, once the glue goes on, it sucks in the glue, so you don't get much slidey wiggle room. So yeah, once it's on, you don't get much time to reposition and wiggle. So you have to make sure it's on in the right place right away. I have probably 1/2 millimetre. I'm a bit pedantic. I've probably got 1/2 millimetre one way that I would have liked to have repositioned, but you don't get to pull it off and put it on again, otherwise you'll rip it. So make sure you are on perfectly the first time, or at least you don't have much wiggle room. So yeah, we'll go on to the next one. Okay, this next one puzzled me slightly for a second. It's telling me AO7, okay, AO7 and 3-1. This is telling me this is AO7 and this is 3-1. Okay, so that's pretty, I'll cut this out in a sec, that's pretty standard, right? And so you look at it and you think, okay, AO7, this must be the way up, right? Then I go to look at the board and it shows me the brown side up, because I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, what's this? Doesn't tell me what this is. Is this different or is this this? I'm thinking, this is this. It doesn't tell me this is something different. So we're following along the steps, right? But it doesn't tell me, like this tells me this is this, arrow across, it turns into this. This turns into this. This gives me a line. Doesn't tell me this is a continuation. So is this a separate piece? So I'm looking and I can't see in, excuse my arm a second people, can't see another piece that's like that. So I'm taking it, you put in the comments if you think I'm wrong. I'm taking it that this, although normally with those we have had to do it face up with the letters up, I'm taking it that this we turn over, We take this centrepiece out. Don't know what this centrepiece is going to be. I'm taking this centrepiece out. I'm sticking this on this. Then I'm turning it over. And then I'm marking it out. And these dots, which I originally thought, oh, well, these must be holes. No, I think I'm making these are marks. And then this is marked up to the wiring diagram underneath. So that when we turn, because this is the floor, and when we turn this over, we put the wiring diagram underneath for the lights. Then when we turn this round, the lights on the ceiling. But I would have liked them to have told me that and not waited till I had a light bulb moment and realised that this is actually the ceiling. But it would have been nice for them to have told me. So that's what I'm going to do. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I can't see any other way to do it. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so I've done that in stages, doing the centrepiece first and then working out the way out, because knowing how the glue sucked the other one in off the wood, I wanted to make sure these tabs were in exactly the right place, because they're going to be fixing into other things, and I didn't want to put it down and then not be able to squish it into place. So putting the glue down in stages has worked perfectly. Now the glue, there's some tiny little pockets of air, but the glue will now suck that in and it will be totally flat. So I'm really happy with that. That's worked well. I've got out the pieces I think it is. So I think it's a bit tricky to tell, but I think this is C31. This I think is C32. So this is the biggest ball we've had in the kit. And then this is the biggest sort of leaf thing we've had. Then this one, it doesn't look exactly like the one in there, but this is the one because the other one has got two exactly the same, and I think we need that for the next one. Then we've got this little silvery ball thing. So I think those are that. Then the C29 is like a little bit of rubber. That's this bit here. I think that is going to be this. All these pieces, it's very difficult to determine which one they are, and you can easily get them mixed up. Now we're going to turn this over. Oh, and we've got our bulbs, which in there they're yellow. We have grey. You might have yellow. No idea. Now I'm going to measure now, and I'm going to use my Sharpie. Doesn't matter, I can use my red Sharpie that I had before when we were using it. And I need to measure. Now we've got it upside down. Oh, and I've got it upside down in the wrong way. So I've turned it over, and I need to measure. It says 2 centimetres down and 3 across, and then we need to put a dot. So I'll probably use my pencil until I'm sure I've got it in the right place, then put my red dot so I can see it a bit better. And I'm covered in glue now, absolutely covered in glue. My ruler's covered in glue, this is covered in glue, my hands are covered in glue. Okay, so 2 centimetres should be along here somewhere, and then we'll match that up with 3 centimetres. Right, I'm going to have to do it just count along because I'm absolutely covered. And so 1, 2, 3 matches there somewhere. You should be there somewhere. Oh, I can see the pencil one fine. And then here somewhere, it doesn't tell me, it looks like it's in the middle. Doesn't tell me how, so it just says 1.5 from here, and it looks like it's in the middle. So my desk is so full of things now, it's unbelievable. 1.5, but you don't tell me, so I'm just gonna have to go in the middle. You are 6.5, 6, 7, 8, 3.4 across, somewhere along the line of here, and then 1.5. There somewhere, you should be a circle of there somewhere. That's about it. Okay, that should be roughly where we want that dot. Now, at least we don't have to drill it. She speaks too soon. If there's something else I need to drill, I'd have to go and get my little hand drill. So, let me just unravel this slide. Okay, so before it was the builders, now it's the fireworks. Okay, so my battery went when I was halfway through, so I'm going to have to start again. So I've thread these on. This was really difficult to get on. The hole in the back of this is teeny tiny. So, if you remember when we did, it's months ago now, so I'm having to remind myself. The electrical bulbs need these little sleeves on them to be safe. Okay, these little sleeves. Okay, so I hate these. I hate these. You're supposed to put these on, put a lighter underneath, heat them up, and they shrink over the... No, I hate them. I have had horrible, terrible experiences with these in the past. They have, I don't know whether it's a quality thing. I've had them where I've put them, and they basically, if you want to have a go, you be my guest. You put it on like this. You basically make sure that it goes over the, there we go, connector part, over like this, and you then shrink. You put the lighter underneath, not directly into the flame. You hold it there and you let it, and it melts, and you pull it away, just a flicker, and you melt. I've had them melt through the wires. I've had them where they've literally disintegrated, took the whole thing with it, and the whole bulb has fell off the end. I do not use them, do not recommend them, but if you be my guest, if you want to try it, it works. You're way better than I am. So, I happen to be lucky enough that my husband is a technician, and he has some electrical tape. So I have gone into my husband's stash and I've got some electrical tape. So I'm going to use that. If you want to use that, go ahead. If you want to use electrical tape, that is what I'm going to use. You use whatever you are comfortable using. But me, I am going to use electrical tape because that is what I am most comfortable using. And it is definitely more comfortable for me. It is what I am most familiar with, and all we want to do, basically, we want to cover the connections. We want to make those connections safe. We want to stop any residual heat. Correct me if I am wrong, but we basically want to stop any residual heat. I'm sure these don't get that hot. They're only teeny tiny. And I'm not that, my husband can pull this so tight, but I need my hands now. Just give me 1 second, because I'm going round the, I'm trying to get you in focus, but I'm actually, my hands are going round the tripod. It's very awkward. Yeah, we are trying to keep these connections away from touching anything else and keep them, just give me a second, I'm going to have to pull it, you have to pull the electrical tape quite tight. Not massively tight, because these are only teeny tiny. But my husband's very good at this. But I'm basically trying to keep these connections from touching anything else and stop any residual heat touching anything and causing a little insulator. So it's not the best, but it's fine. It's good for me. So I can always cut it off if it's not good enough. So I want that to go, pull that along. It's really tough, this. Don't want to stretch the wires. Now let's see how far I want that to go in, and then I can always snip any more off. So I'm going to trim. I'm going to do it off camera because I can't, I need my hands close to me and the tripod's in the way. So I'm just going to put that to there, and I will trim off any excess of that tape down to there and get this all snug, and I'll come back to you. Okay, so I've now trimmed it so that that fits lovely, and then that fits on so that that bulb just sits, do it that way, that bulb just fits perfectly trim so that the light bulb is inside that. And I hope that, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this glue. Now I've been using my Mod Podge so that we don't, but I can use that on the outside to get this to sit nicely. And if I push it into there, you won't see the stringy bits. So I'm going to use this. I want you in a minute. And we'll squish some glue, and it's going to be on the outside of the paper, and all I want to do is to make sure, because this is going upside down, we don't want it to fall off. And the other stuff is going to lean against it. So that should be, push that on there, and that should be wonderful. Fabulous, that should be secure on there. And then the others, I can put little blobs of glue and push them down. will just sit and dry. And then we'll go on. We've got another one. I'll leave that over there to dry. Then we have another one. So we've done this. Once it's all dry, we will put these into place. But for now, we want another bulb, another C47, another bulb. I'm going to wrap it again, and we want bead C28, which is this little one. It's much smaller than the other one. Put that on the end so that the bulb showing me is just popping out the end. So basically we'll just do it trim. We'll just do it trim to the end. And then those will be ready to glue into place. So I'll do that now. I'm not quite sure how this is going to go, and it doesn't say how it wants me to. So I've got to glue, I presume. Glue this here. I'm hoping my glue is going to be strong enough. I'm going to put a big glue. It's going to be sticky. I'm going to have to clean it up after. But I'm wondering, is my electrical tape okay? It's like a sticky tape. I'm going to glue it, and then I'm going to see if my electrical tape will hold. So I've never used my electrical tape as a sticky tape. Let's see. So we've got to come along here. So let's just put a blob of glue there and hold that there, as we want that to be. And then we've got to come along here. I've zoomed this in so you can see, but I don't think you can see. Let's zoom you out a little bit so you can see all the board. Now, I need something to hold that. It said it wants me to bend it, but I have to let it just cut that slack from it. And we've got to come all the way along to the end of here. So I'm going to put some glue. Probably not the best night to do this when all the fireworks go in. So we'll stay you there for the minute, love. Then I'm going to turn you. This is going to take some trial and error, so I'm going to show you on here, and then I'm going to have to fiddle with this after, because it's not going to be nice and neat. The first go, I'm going to have to fiddle with this. See, it wants to keep bending. Then I've got to come along here to the end and straight off the board. Not quite sure what we've got to do after that, but I've got to come off the board. So I'm going to do it in the corner like they say. And my glue's getting sticky. As soon as you have this glue out in the air for so many minutes, it gets sticky. As long as I just do these pinpoints, then I'm going to see if I can use this tape. If not, I'll go and get some of the tape, but I think that's the way to go. I think this is going to be. Let's have a look. Can I use you as tape? Not, you're supposed to be used, but if you stick to wooden stuff, I'll be very impressed with you. This is trial and error. I'd very much appreciate it if you would stick tape. We can always try. We'll try anything. I mean, you will see it on the ceiling, but if somebody turns my model around and starts looking up at my ceiling, well then, bigger for them. Right, so we'll do that like that, and that like that. Give it a better chance of sticking, like less resistance. It's holding for now. Okay. And then let that glue dry. Now the other one, that's there. Let me make sure you can see. Now the other one we taped, it says here, it wants us to bend it and then put this bead on at an angle. So that's what we're going to do. we're going to give it a little bend. I don't want to bend it really harsh because I don't want to break the wire inside. And that's on this mark here at the 2 centimetres from the edge and the 3 centimetres. That's this mark I made here, isn't it? Let me just check because I've got a lot of smudges and glue going on now. Yes, that's 3 centimetres. And that's 2, yes. And you end, I am covered in glue, but so is this now. But it, I'll clean it up, Okay, so just that, if I bend that like that, does that give that enough to go on? Yes, that fits on there nicely. I don't know how I'm going to get it to stay bent. So it doesn't want to stay bent, but never mind. That's kind of it now. Yeah, it's going to, never mind. And then that goes, so a bit like that. Can you see that? So we're gonna glue it on that dot. Most important thing is we're in the right place. So like that. Then I'm going to use some of this tape again. And I'm just going to make sure that these two are in the right area, and then we'll tape that down. And I'm going to cut off this excess in the corner because I don't want any excess going off on the edge because we need that edge crisp. So I think I'm going to let all that dry for now, and then we'll see what we've got after. Okay, so now it's dried. If we turn it upside down, my light does dangle and my bulb looks fine. My tape is holding, so I'm very pleased about that. Now, I'm presuming you've done your light tests, your bulb test. Now, the instructions for the bulb tests in these kits, now as I said, it's been months since I did the other thing, so I'm presuming, I can't remember now going through our bulb test before, but I'm presuming you've done your bulb test at the beginning of your kit. If you didn't, we're going to do another one now. Because as I said, I did my bulb test before, but I'm going to go through it with you now. So, in the kit, it's in the instructions, it's yellow. It tells us, see here's at the beginning, now. Refer to the following operation tests whether the light bulb is bright and distinguish the positive and negative poles. Now these always confuse the poop out of me when I read the instructions, but they're actually really easy. If you go back to your school days, now it's just a simple bulb test. It's just a simple light test, but there's a yellow and white as a grey and white. I don't know what colour yours are, but it's just a bulb test. You have your battery. As I said, I don't remember. I'd have to go back and watch my... I do millions of videos. I don't actually remember what's in all of my videos. I have people ask me questions from years ago and I have to go back and watch my video to answer the question because I can't remember everything I said in the video. You know, I remember but yeah, they asked me specific questions about specific lines that I said in the video. Right, so we want to turn our battery. I've put some batteries in my two little AA batteries. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on, for being simple, I'm going to turn it on to start with because it's going to be easier. And my grey wire is my yellow wire, my white wire. And if we go all the way to the end, and it is basically red to white and grey to black. So we want to test our bulbs, make sure they light up. Now, we really hope, I did do a mini test before, but we really want to test our lights before we start this. But if sometimes, like me, you actually are so excited to put it together and don't test your bulbs until you've put it together, then yeah, that's a bit of a bummer if it doesn't work, but it's fine. So white to red, so I'm going to put that one over there, although mine really wants to, so that's going to go over there. Black to grey, and all we want to do, because we're not fixing them together at the moment, we just want to touch the wires. So I'm going to touch this one to this one, and I'm going to hold it down there, hold you down there, okay, and then over here I'm going to just touch these wires together, and my bulb's going to light up. There we go. And I know my bulb is working. Okay, so I'm going to put that one over there and grab these two wires. So black to grey, hold you down, white to red, and my, oh, hello. Well, it would help if you were exposed. So sometimes, and I haven't got my snips, so I'm going to have to use my scissors very, very carefully. They haven't, the end of this wire isn't exposed. So if we just use this very carefully to break the end of the casing, pull it off, we should expose very carefully. We don't want to cut through it, we just want to pull the end off. There, now we have a little bit of, I'm going to have to do it a bit bigger than that, but it's only tiny. So we want black to grey, and then we want to touch the end. There we go. And it's lighting up, which means our bulbs are working. So that is basically our bulb test. We're just making a full circuit. Great. So our bulbs work. That's our light test. We have our lighting diagram, our lighting circuit done underneath, and when we turn it over, we have a little ceiling lights. Fabulous. Right, what's next? So we've finished that page now, and we're here. Let's keep going. Right, these are not numbered, but I'm pretty much presuming, since they've got this little grid pattern, and they're the only ones I can find with this scallop shape in the top, that this is A06. Now, this is 4-1 and 5-1, so I am presuming, since they want us the wood side, not the white side, the wood side out, that this, since here, look, you can see the wood, so it must be this way up, and this narrow piece here is smaller on this side, and on this one, on 5-1, it's narrower this side, on 4-1 it's narrower that side. Like on here, it must be 4-1 to this one and 5-1 to this one. That's what I'm, because that's narrower there and that's narrower there, so that's what I'm going with, because this scallop is in the middle. So, and these notches are the same width, so that's what I'm going with. 5-1 on this one and 4-1 on this one. So that's what I'm going to glue next. Okay, I seem to be waffling a lot more through this video than I did through the last one, and that's because there are a lot of bits we can get wrong. If you don't like my waffling, you carry on and fast forward me, mute me, do whatever you want. but I just want to make sure that if you do need my help, then you carry on and listen to me waffle. This cutout, I'm quite aware that this doesn't feel like it fits 100% because we've got extra. The cutout is bigger, but that's because we have some of these pieces. We've got 21, these circles to fit in there. We've also got another circle, a 20. I'm not quite sure where that is at the moment, but I'll find it. We've got some other pieces to fit in that will hide those gaps. When I have just put this up, this line here should be a score line to go over the edge. That does not fit 100%. So I'm not gluing from this side. I'm going to glue from this side and push across. If you rely on that, this line here, and score that down like we did on the other one and bend it over, it's not going to fit. You're going to do that and then you're going to have too much over this edge. I'm just thinking, do they want us? Because if we did that, I'm thinking, oh, well, does that mean you're supposed to fold over both edges? Well, if you did that, these tabs aren't going to fit. These tabs will be in the wrong place if we did it like that and went down both sides. And then this won't be in the centre. So I'm going to follow my instincts. And if we follow this edge flush, this will be in the centre. These tabs will fit. That would just be way over. But I'd prefer this to be in the centre, this to be in the centre, these tabs to fit. And then that is going to be a much longer edge. But I'm thinking that line's just in the wrong place. These tabs need to fit, and this needs to fit, and this needs to fit, and this will just have to do it once. So I'm going to put the glue on here and then keep adding glue and work my way across. If I put my glue on the whole thing, it's going to be difficult like we did last time. It's going to be difficult. Okay, while those are drying, I've just done the 2 of those now. I've just done 2. So from what I can gather, I thought I'd do these little sort of these. So it says for the white plain sides 120. So those are these, and then on the picture sides it says A19, and that's these. Now, as I did before, I coloured the sides. Now I've got a blue Sharpie, but it's making it, I tested it out on this bit, it's making it look a little bit green. But it does look better. You focus. There. Oh. It looks better than not being done. But it does look a little bit green, but I don't have another blue. So I'm going to do them over. I did try another pen I had, but it just keeps coming off onto my hands. So the Sharpie is better because it's permanent. So I will go, I didn't go around these. I wish I had, but I can't now because of the, oh, and there you go, I'm drawing everything. I can't now because of the I'll end up drawing on the white. So I'll colour these and I'll come back. Okay, so we are here now. That was fiddly. Sorry, my light is because my battery light is not long gone out. Yeah. So I'm trying to use this light, but it's shining. This is very shiny paper. So we've now done these little portholes, and we've put these little teeny pieces on. We've done these front and back, so we should have these panels all completed now. We should have front and back, these panels should all be completed, and so we're moving on to this back board, and there's quite a bit of assembly to do with this, so that's exciting. That's quite a big bit now, but I'm going to leave these to dry because these are they're fiddly little itsy bitsy pieces, and quite a bit of glue on here now, so I'm going to leave these to dry for a bit before I start the next one. Okay, we're down here now, so we've got this section here, so we've got to try and find all these pieces. So I found this big, oh hello, that went right. I found this big one, and I've got various pieces stuck inside it. Don't know where that one went. So I don't know what this. So I'm gonna have to try and put. I'm gonna push all these out, and then this middle one, and then I've got to find inside. So this says it's A42, so that's that one. 26 and 26, so this is 26, so I'm looking for 2 more 20. Aha, right, so on this bigger board we've got a 26 there and a 26 there, so we'll do that first, and we've got a 25 and we've got a 25 there, so let's get those pieces together first. Okay, so I've pulled them all out. Now I have found my brown Sharpie, and inside of here, doesn't matter about the outside because that's going to be inside of here, it's all sort of You can see there's all marks and stuff, so I'm going to go around on the inside. Now there are a couple of marks where they've pulled off. Now I've tried to push them off the right, they're still scratches, and that's already in the kit. But if it marks, because it's permanent, it marks the outside, so I'm not quite sure how I'm going to get rid of these. If I can try and get my marker in without getting it on the outside, because it does see, I'll try and get rid of the scratches. But I'm going to go along and colour the inside of all the windows before I glue them in. Okay, now I'm covered in brown pen. I was covered before in blue, now I'm covered in brown. I've been umming and ahhing whether to do this in the 3-in-1 or whether to do it in the Mod Podge. Now the Mod Podge will take longer to dry, but it won't be stringy, it won't leave me. I've done the other wood with it, but I'm thinking, will it be as strong? These ones have glued lovely, so I think I'm going to do it in the Mod Podge, but it's just going to take longer to dry. But I'm just gonna, that's going to have to be okay. That's just the way it's going to go. So it hasn't told me which way round it wants me to do it, but it looks pretty symmetrical. These are in exactly the same place, so I think it doesn't matter really. So we're going to go with this way. Doesn't really say, so we're going to do this one. And I'm going to put glue on the outside of here, I think. Now I've got little tabs, and I think that's for the yellow part after. So I'm going to slot it in and use the table. And just make sure this is nicely in the middle. And make sure my good bit is to, oh, thank you very much. The good bit is to the outside, because on the inside we're going to have lots of bits and pieces distracting us from the scratches and stuff. So the good bit to the outside and the scratchy bits to the inside. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so we now gluing on A71. So I've pulled out, it was from this piece here, oh hello, A71, which is this piece, so I've took it out, and I have sanded with my little teeny nail file all the little nodules. We just had some little teeny nodules on the inside, and I'm going to glue it with my Mod Podge onto here. And it's like something like that. Okay, I'm going to let it dry. Okay, sorry, but I'm going to waffle through this bit. Oh, there's a little nodule there as well. Okay, so normally for the wood I use the 3-in-1, but as this is flexy, this is great. This is like woo. I think this has got nodules, and I want to be able to pull this apart if this isn't right. This is a little bit flexy. This is not straightforward, and I want as much. I don't mind waiting for it to dry. I want as much time to work with this as possible. So it's showing me 73. It's showing me, turn it round, 72. It's not, and it has these little, I'm going to light down, it has these little pieces we fix it into. Okay, now what I might do is just put the nodules of glue on after, just to make sure it doesn't come apart. So we've got these little fixie in pieces, but this keeps popping out, so glue is definitely required. Then it wants us to put, 75 on. These are the two 75s, and this is a 74. I've kept them separate because I don't want to get them. It then wants us to put on 75 first, and that is definitely not to the side, on the back. So 75 on first, and then it says, yeah, so 75's gone first, then 74 goes on the top. Right. So I think what I'm going to do, these I think will be okay with the 3-in-1, but this I'm going to put some Mod Podge on. And then, so yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Okay. Because this I'm going to glue on first. Now it's in like that. I don't want stringy glue clogging up those joints, so I'm going to put a bead of this all around the outside and hold it in place and wait for it to dry. Then once that's dry, I'm then gonna 3-in-1 these on like we've been doing everything else. That's what I'm going to do, because I don't want stringy 3-in-1. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I don't want the 3-in-1 seeping through and showing up on the inside of that, but you won't see the Mod Podge. That is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to use the bottle to hold it, because this keeps wanting to pop out. So nice bead of glue. I'm going to have to hold up shit. Can you see what I've done? Nice bead of glue, and I'm going to do that all the way around. Then I'm going to hold it, let it dry, then we'll come back and do the 3-in-1. Okay, so it's still got a tiny bit left to dry, but the majority is dry now. I've removed the bottles. So now I'm going to carefully put the sides on from this angle. So it's not going to be easy. I'm not going to pick it up. I'm going to put it on from the sides so that I don't disturb. So that I don't disturb the centerpiece. So it's going to be easier for you to see than me, but we'll try. Now remember, not on the sides and butt up. We're going to put the glue on this side and put it on the top of the back. Okay, now remember this end this is going on top, so we want glue on the bottom of these two ends and on the back. So not on the end of these two ends, on the bottom, because this is going on the top and then on the back. Oh, hello, glue. Come on. Now, normally I would stand this up, but I am being super careful. I want this. Now, this is where you can push your sides out to make sure everything is in a perfect box. You want everything to be perfect. I am not standing this up till I am 100% that this is all perfect. I'm going to leave that to dry for a while before I attempt to pick that up, and then we'll have a look. Okay, I think it looks good. I'm still being careful with it because it still feels quite fragile. So then there's these little notches. We've got notches here, so I'm presuming we just pop those in there. And I think I'm going to, because it's going to come out, the glue's going to come out the other side, and I don't want big globs of like stringy glue. So again, I think I'm going to be using the Mod Podge, because the Mod Podge, when it dries, is quite strong. So I'm going to put, again, a bead of glue along here, and then squidge it down. I think that's in all the way down. But I had one tab that didn't want to wiggle in, and I didn't want to push it and then the whole thing fall apart. So I think that is all down. I can't turn it over and all go. I can't turn it over, so I think that's all fine. I'm going to leave that a little bit to dry. This has taken a long time to do because I'm having to wait a long time in between gluing things. So I'm going to see what the next piece is. While we're waiting for this, I'm going to get the next pieces of this ready and we'll see what we're doing next. Right, then we've got this piece was in here. Then we needed A18, which was this long one here, and A19, which was this little teeny one here. We're going to have to put the big one here underneath. I'm going to glue that with my 3-in-1, and this little one is going to go up here. I'm going to do that with the 3-in-1 because those are thicker wood, but I'm going to do this thin one with the Mod Podge because that's going to need a bit more sliding into place. So let's do that. Okay, just okay, bear with me here, look. It shows this. It shows these. And then it says C11. C11 are these. Right, just can we see these? Right. These have got to go in that hole. These not only don't fit in that hole, they've got to be this thickness. Can you see this thickness? So I have done one. I have smashed it in there. I don't have a hammer. So I don't have a hammer. What do they think I am? Using this, and it looks like this. Is this what they intend us to do? It to stick out like this? So I've analysed every picture from here on through, and the only I have looked microscopically, and you can see there are little teeny tiny. Now perhaps if I can get this to focus, you can zoom in, because I can't zoom in now. I don't have zoomable eyes. True enough, there are teeny tiny metal circles, and they do. I need new glasses but can't afford them yet. They do protrude. I don't think they protrude this much, but they do. And also, these are not the same length. This one is shorter than this massive long thing. So there are a few things about this kit that are a little, that you have to kind of make up as you go along, and this is going to be one of those things. So I'm going to do what they say, and if it looks like we've just made a this is supposed to be the windowsill. So if it looks like we've just made a see, you can see here it does protrude, but I don't think it protrudes that much. So if we're just making a spiky windowsill, we're doing great. So let's go ahead and glue on the spiky hedgehog sill. So yeah, we've got to spikify these. That's a new word, by the way. So I'm going to find some scrap, because otherwise I'm going to ruin my board by smashing it down on there. So I'm going to try and find some scrap bit of wood that we're not going to use. Perhaps the inside of one of these. And put that on there. Put the little circle in. Let me zoom you in so that you can see what I'm smashing. Started off by pushing it into the centre, of which it doesn't fit. And then I'm just going to knock it in, and when you knock it in, it doesn't look like it wants to go level, so you have to turn it round and knock it back the other way. Wait till it gets somewhat level, and that's about as good as you're going to get it. If you have a hammer, go right ahead, but do be careful, because these are soft and you might end up with a splat. So I'm going to go ahead and try and make these. See, that one, when it reaches the bottom, is, see how they're different? Because that one started off life longer than that one. Focus, camera, focus, focus, focus. See how that one's longer than that? Oh my god, that one's longer than that one. So they will be what they will be, and I will love them no matter what. Let's keep going. Okay, I've done them all. They're a little bit weird looking, but that's okay. We are going to accept whatever little spiky dudes. We've got spiky dudes again. We had spiky dudes in the last book Nook. They've returned. We are going to stick our spiky dudes onto here, and I am going to use my Mod Podge so that I can slide them in place. And we are, there we go. Now it says they're going to go this way. Pattern facing down towards these little nodules. So I'm going to go ahead and glue all those. Okay, so they're all on now. I hope they're all even as best as I can see. And yeah, it looks spiky. They're at different heights, but that's okay. If that's what they want, that's okay. We've just got a spiky hedgehog, spiky dude. That's okay. So I'm going to leave that to dry, and we're going to go on to the next section now. We're going to find A24, A10, and then we're going to start gluing those. Now remember this that we made? Oh hello, stuck. This fire, we're going to put that in place, and with the little wheel that we're going to make now. So let's find those pieces and glue them together. Okay, so we've got our little fire, and it shows us a picture on here of it just sat on that shelf. So now we've got all this sort of coming out of the back, so it's very hard for me to show you. And the wires, there's a little notch here, so the wires, so it's a bit tricky. It's going to have to sit, it doesn't give us a lot of room on that shelf. Look, it wants to sit right at the front. So I'm going to try and just bend those wires gently and just give them a little gentle bend. We don't want to be too harsh, then we do not want to break the wires inside. Okay, so we want that to go. Now it shows it's slightly more, but I'm going to put it in the middle. And then the wires, so they're going to come down the back. Now it's quite awkward for me to at this angle. Got it propped up on a bit of a bottle there. So let's just, the wire we can, so bend that wire there. The wire we can nip out after, because that wire is going to end up coming underneath so that we can't see the wire. It'll be hidden underneath. So I'm going to do that. I think, yeah, it's going to be a bit tricky to stick. I would like to stick this with a lot of Mod Podge so that you can't see it. It's going to take a little bit to hold that steady, so I'm going to try and hold that up. This is not going to be easy, is it? Hold it up. See if I can run a bead of glue along there and a bead of glue along there. I shall wipe off the excess in a minute, but that's pretty much where it's going to be. But I'm going to have to stand here, which is what I've done with a lot of this, and wait for it to dry. So I'll see you back in a minute. Okay, so I'm going to have to do this a little bit out of sync. I only have one bead, so I can't do this next light section. I'm going to have to source another bead like this. Now I do have some, because obviously I'm in the shed. Now I do have some beads in my house from making jewelry and stuff, and hopefully I can find something similar to this. Other than that, I'm going to have to go shopping and see if I can source some beads, 2 beads the same. So yes, that's depressing. So I'm going to move onto the walls and we're going to try and glue these in place, because I only have a certain amount of time today until I have to go and sort my son. So we'll carry on with the next bit and then I'll come back to that little bead and see what I can do. But it's fine, we'll fix it, we'll do something and we will have some lights. So let's get on. We need the floor. We need the left hand side section, the floor and this piece. We need this piece, this is the left hand side piece, and then the floor. Wash the base, I'll say the floor, the base. So we are going to let me zoom you out. Put those packets of beads. You'll have to excuse me, I've got my fluffy dressing gown on because I'm freezing in this shed. Freezing! It's very cold today and it's raining and it's yucky. So it says base. It shows me a picture of the base. It shows me a picture of this. And then it shows me a picture of the walls. So we have to slot it in, and then I am going to glue the nodules, push them in. Now I've been gluing these nodules with these pieces with the Mod Podge. I'm going to glue them with the 3-in-1. We really need this to be secure. So this, it doesn't tell me which piece, it doesn't give me any indication at all on this section, but I'm presuming this is the left hand piece, because if I look very closely, because this is the front edge, this wraps round, which makes sense to me that this would go across the back, because this is the wrapped around piece, and this, does that make sense to you? Because in this picture, yes, because in the pictures, this, it doesn't show any wall, and this, when butted up against the back, would come straight out with the back facing wall. So I'm presuming that will go like that. Do you fit nicely? Come on. I'm hoping you do. No, it's got the picture on there, so it's got the film on the bottom, so we're having to make sure everything fits nicely. Do you fit nicely? I hope you do. You should line up well. They're pre-cut timber, so we're hoping. So I suggest we push, because this has got, like this wants to lift up, so I suggest we push the picture in first and then come this way, so that the paper, yeah, that slots in. Okay, so that's how I'm going with that. That's how I'm going with that. And these fit in the first set of holes. So it should go something like this. Oh, that's very loose, isn't it? That's very loose. See, this one's really snug and that's very loose. So I'm going to have to stick a lot of glue and hold and glue. So I'm going to do this one first and then glue the end and side and really push that snug. Right, okay. Here goes. Okay, I'm going to leave those bottles in place to hold everything at right angles, and we'll let that dry. Okay, my floor is dry enough, and I was looking to see which way, and it looks better that way, where the pattern is half and there's a full, so I like that better. So I'm going to put glue on these two edges. Right, you now have a great bird's eye view. Trying to move things out of the way because it's really difficult now to see if you can see. Trying to get it so that the light can go. Right, so now we're going to put the floor on. Try and keep the cables out of the way, and we're going to sort of put all the glue on and try and push this. Yes, because that's a snug fit, so try and push that into the corner. It is going to be quite snug to push that. So yes, I'm going to put the glue on these two sides, but it does seem a snug fit. We're going to have to push. That doesn't seem to want to. We might end up, yeah, we might end up with glue everywhere, but we'll give it a go. I am covered in glue as always, and well, that was the hardest bit of the whole build so far. It appears I have had to wiggle and squiggle and push and pull. In the end, I actually pulled it off, and I used my tiny little file, and I actually filed these, and I actually lost a window, so I'm going to glue my window back in. These holes were not big enough. So when you do yours, check your holes first, because the holes weren't big enough, and therefore they would not fit. No matter what I did, they would not fit. So yeah, there was nothing I was going to do to get those back into there nicely. So I'm going to glue my window back in place. And yeah, I'm just exhausted after that. Push me, pull you. That was exhausting. So what now? Yeah, what now allows me on the end? I don't know whether the end's going to fit or not. But I'm just pushing some glue back on there. And now I'm a bit nervous. I might push some glue on the end of these, because now I'm nervous that these aren't going to stay in place with the push me pulley with the next one, because if that doesn't fit, is this M one going to fit? Ay, ay, ay. So far we have the floor in, painfully. Now we're supposed to put this end in, but I'm a bit dubious now whether it's going to fit. Now, they haven't told us to do anything with these cables so far, and yeah, they haven't said anything. But there is little hills. Now I've got, they should have told us. Now we've got a gap under here, and I'm presuming this gap under here is where our cable's going to go. Now they should have told us to feed our cables through the gaps in this corner, because I think this is why we have this little bench. And at the back here, I think this is where our cables are going to come out. So I'm going to push these now through this here, because I'm predicting that's where our cables are going to go. But it would have been helpful should they have instructed us. Yep, see? They come out nicely at the back. So that's what I'm going to do just now to get these cables out of the way. So it does mean they're going to feed down. Now it's not lovely for them to go all the way down the side of our wall, but it doesn't tell me to do anything else with them. There's no external way for them to come out. It hasn't told me to leave them outside anywhere. It hasn't told me to put them anywhere else. Now it might be that there's so much stuff going on in the room, but it also, and they can go right down the corner. And I'm also going to do the same with this one. I'm going to feed that one in there. Now, if those cables bother you, like I think they might bother me, I might put some white tape. Or we could always paint the cables white, couldn't we? There we go. But for now, they're all out the way. So I can decide what I want to do with those. But it really doesn't tell me anything. If we go to the next, it does say on the next page, it just shows us cables at the back. And it does show us, but it could have said what it wanted us to do with those, and it could have explained to us how neatly it wanted us to put them there. Things will go in the front of it, but I would have liked mine to have been out the way. How white is my... I might put cable. Right, so let's focus on this, but I just wanted them out of the way because they were doing my suede. Right, so I'm just off. That's my phone, that might be my daughter. Just offering that up to there and that up to there, and I'm hoping that will go there without too much problem, because there's only one thing there, whereas that was a big load of kerfuffle. I'm hoping that will fit. Give me a second. Okay, so here we go. Last piece of the day. So glue along the bottom, glue along this side, and glue all the way up the side at the back. Right, very disappointingly, and it's going to really bug me, their holes don't line up. And this is the danger when you buy a kit. Their hole on this piece isn't in the right place. It is out. So their hole for this side needs to be further that way. This one fits beautifully. This side doesn't. It's not far enough over, so it fits to the front, which is the main thing, but when you get to the back there is a gap. So that's going to bug me, so I'm probably going to try and either paint that. As long as it fits on the inside, I'm going to try to paint that white so that you don't notice. But that is all I'm going to get done for today. And the next will be for the next video. I'm going to find some beads and I'll do that for the next video. I'll do some shots because I'm too close to the camera, and I'll clean up the glue from the inside. I'll paint that corner. Yeah, we're too close. I'll paint that corner. But that's as far as we're going to get for today. Well, for the last several days as I've been doing it. But I'm disappointed that at the very last hurdle, it doesn't fit. But I can't do anything about the pre-drilled holes. So thank you ever so much for watching. I hope this has been helpful, and to see my struggles might help you with yours. Take care then. Bye-bye.